Om Satchidanandarupaya Vishvotpatyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha. Janmadhyasya yatonvayadi taratascharteshvabhignaswarat Tene brahmahradaya adi kavaye muhyanti yatsurayaha Tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha Dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam param dhimahi Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam Vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayonmulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamunikrite Kim Vaparerishwaraha Sadyo Hridyavarudyate Trakritibihi Shushrushubistakshanat. Hari Om, and greetings from Niagara Falls. Usually, we invest 1 minute to invoke toughness and evoke hope. Some of our family members in this class, in this course, have come out of the hospital and some are going into the hospital. So for them, we will chant the two dohas at the beginning of Hanuman Chalisa and the last doha at the end of Hanuman Chalisa together. Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja Nijamana Mukuru Sudhari Bharanau Raghuvara Vimala Jasu Jodaya Kupalachari Buddhihina Tanujanike Sumirau Pavana Kumara Bala Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi Harahu Kalesa Vikara Pavanatanaya Sankata Harana Mangalamurati Roop Ramalakhana Sita Sahita Hridaya Basau Surabhoop. And now as we continue to our Jai I want you to raise your right arms in a fist and offer that Jai. Ready? Siyavara Ramachandra ki Jai. Pavanasuta Hanuman ki Jai. Umapati Mahadeva ki Jai. Bolo Bhai Sab Santan ki Jai. आज के आनंद की जय. Do you know what the word dhvani means? Dhvani means echo, sound, or bell. A dharma dhvani is an exhibitionist. The little dharma that they engage in, they create a lot of echoes and sounds and ring lots of bells before they're doing this, while they're doing this. Our course is to grow out of being a dharma dwani to being a dharma rakshaka. A rakshaka is one who follows dharma, furthers dharma, and as they do this, their mind becomes quieter. Their intellect becomes stiller. Their ego becomes silent. The 9th skanda of Srimad Bhagavatam is entitled, or the focus is, Ishanukata. Isha Anu Kata. And the Vedanta of this skanda is how to manage Vasanas. Only you can manage your Vasanas. A special detail that has been narrated about Raja Ambarisha, whom we will get to know more about today. Whatever was important, he did himself. He is the Raja, he has the most responsibilities, but matters like cleaning his altar, preparing Naivedya for Bhagwan, he did that himself. And that's a subtle message for all of us. Whatever's important, you have to do yourself. Like exercising. Someone can't exercise for you. Like being independent. If someone else is doing it for you, you're becoming more dependent, no? The 3 ways to manage Vasanas. Listen very carefully to this. I have shared this in all of our courses. I'm assigning Sanskrit words to this so we can remember this more. Number 1, Vasana Kshaya, which means the exhaustion of our blueprint. Number 2, Vasana Parivartana. Parivartana means substituting our blueprint. And number 3 is Vasana Nasha, which is disidentification from our blueprint. For light vasanas, you have to use the first technique, Vasana Kshaya. You have to go through that vasana, and then that vasana is exhausted. As an example, I observe that when people are younger, they have a vasana for traveling. And after you travel a lot, then you don't have a need, even a want to travel. Vasana Kshaya. For medium weight vasanas, substitution. If I have a vasana to drink alcohol, then I have to substitute that vasana with coffee, coconut water. You have to figure it out, but you have to substitute, because if you engage in it, you'll deepen it, correct? So you have to substitute that with that which is healthier. And Vasana Nasha is only possible by disidentification. As long as you identify, what you're identifying with is a blueprint, correct? That blueprint creates your intellect, mind, breath, body, which then creates articles, beings, circumstances. But if you don't identify with a blueprint, then none of those limits affect you. Those are heavy vasanas, like I am this body. Think, what would you substitute the I am this body with? You can't substitute it. You have to disidentify. So living intelligently, we exhaust, we substitute, and then we build enough momentum to disidentify. as we go through this skanda, I'll highlight how this is happening. One point I did share in the last class is the bhakta of Bhagwan is absorbed in Bhagwan. So are they identified with their vasanas? Their ego? No, they're absorbed in Bhagwan. They don't have limits. We're obviously in the 9th skanda, the 4th adhyaya, the 63rd shloka, 9:4:63. This is Bhagwan Narayana who's speaking to, explaining to Rishi Durvasa. A most lovely teaching. Aham bhakta paradhinaha hyaswatantra iva dvija sadhu birjanatas hridayaha bhakter bhakta jana priyaha. Bhagwan Narayana says, I am a servant to my bhaktas. O Dvija, he's referring to Rishi Durvasa, it's like they have tied me up. These sadhus, those who follow and further the Shastra, they live in my heart. I live in their heart. These are bhaktas and I love them. Bhagwan Narayana is sharing this with Rishi Durvasa. Why? We'll find out. Raja Ambarisha is engaged in the Ekadashi Vrata, Upavasa. On the 10th day, after a full moon, new moon, he's taking one meal. On the 11th day, no meals. On the 12th day, one meal. The reason for this vrata, I want you to think of this as an audit. Big charities, big corporations, they have to be audited regularly to keep them in check, correct? Our small charities, small corporations, we can be as shady as we want. All of the entrepreneurs are saying, yes, you're right. Bhagavatam is endorsing this. What such vratas do is they keep us independent. Because when you are hungry, you realize how dependent you are on taste, as an example. He has fasted on the 11th day, and now he has to have a meal on the 12th day, and he's about to eat, and who shows up? Rishi Durvasa. And Raja Ambarisha has to look after all personalities, so he shares with Rishi Durvasa, please go and bathe, engage in your sadhana, and when you come back, we'll eat together. So Rishi Durvasa goes, and the time is running out for him to take his meal on the 12th day, because if he doesn't, he's breaking that vrata. He's breaking that audit. So he seeks the advice of those who are learned. And those who are learned share, if you drink water, then you would have broken your fast, yet it's not a meal. So you will still be subscribing to serving Rishi Durvasa. So he sought that advice, he followed that advice. And when Rishi Durvasa came back from freshening his body and mind, he knew that Raja Ambarisha had consumed something before serving Rishi Durvasa, and he was infuriated. And so infuriated that he rips out a lock of hair. See, I don't even think I'd be able to take out one hair. I'm not dexterous enough, I'm not strong enough. He took out a whole lock of hair and smashed it against the ground. And what came out was Kritya. Kritya is a We'll call her a demoness, a Rakshasi. And she starts to move towards Raja Ambarisha to consume him. Since you consumed without me, she's going to consume you. And as she gets closer to Raja Ambarisha, what shows up? Bhagavan Narayana's Sudarshana Chakra. Remember I told you that Raja Ambarisha loves Bhagavan, is Bhagavan, so that Sudarshana Chakra immediately destroyed Kritya. So now let's focus on the Vedanta. You all know this katha. You've read a Marchitra katha already, correct? You don't need Bhagavatam. But for the Vedanta, you do. Okay. Number 1. When Rishi Durvasa proclaims that you've insulted me, that now you should be consumed, Raja Ambarisha stood there with folded hands, accepting what he had done and what is going to happen to him. That is a fine way to live, and we become accepting when we start to learn from our experiences. Whenever we don't learn from an experience, we come to regret that experience, correct? And when you have regrets, you're always afraid of the future then. So you escape. But Raja Ambarisha is a learner. That's why he had the moral or the personal strength to accept whatever is coming. No regrets, so no anxieties. Be a perpetual learner. And you will know you are when you have less regrets, less anxieties. Imagine how light we will be. Now, let's focus on the Sudarshana Chakra. We visualize that Bhagavan Narayana holds the Sudarshana Chakra. What we need to internalize is that Bhagavan is the Sudarshana Chakra. Sudarshana means the one who can see all. The one who can see all. And this is why in our lives we get not what we desire, rather what we deserve. The one who can see all can see the past, present, and future. Can see our actions, our words, our thoughts. So if you're selfless, then that Sudarshana Chakra will protect you. And if you're selfish, that Sudarshana Chakra will cut you. But you deserve it. That's why I brought up the earlier point of, if we're learning from each experience, then we never get cut. Rather, that's making us stronger. Now I'll simplify this even more. You fill in the blank. When you work hard and smart for what you want, and you get it according to the way you want it, what feeling should be evoked? You should feel grateful. You worked hard and smart for what you want and you got what you want. If you work hard and smart for what you want, but it doesn't come in the way you want, specifically time-wise, what feeling should be evoked? To be faithful. You've worked hard and smart for what you want, but it will come not according to your plan, but rather Bhagavan's plan. Later, in a different way. And finally, if you work hard and smart for what you want, but this never comes. A job, a spouse, enlightenment. What should you feel? Peaceful. Why? Because Bhagavan is Sudarshana. You get what is best for you. You get what you deserve. We have this notion to make this fatalistic. Why do I deserve this? But a seeker like Raja Ambarisha is not, why do I deserve this but rather, why did I deserve this so I can learn from this? Clear? We continue. We're now on the 5th chapter, the 24th verse. So this is 9:5:24. I'm only reading the second line. Reshe vimoksham vyasanam cha buddhva mene swaviryam cha paranubhavam. This is Rishi Shuka speaking to Raja Parikshita. You remember them, yes? That's the origin of Bhagavatam. Or Raja Parikshita, that's you, is asking Rishi Shuka questions about life, about living. And Rishi Shuka says, after Rishi Durvasa left, then Raja Ambarisha reflected on, why did this happen to him? How come he had the strength to endure the trials that he's been facing, and that he feels the grace of Bhagwan on him? We should all change our name to Ambarisha. What an amazing personality. Truly, Ishanu Kata. The details of a bhakta. Okay. After this Sudarshana Chakra destroyed Kritya, where did it go? Started chasing Rishi Durvasa. We have so many narrations in our kathas about people being chased. Remember Sugriva being chased? Now, Rishi Durvasa is being chased. And he's being chased everywhere. And they're rishis. They have good cardiovascular strength. So, he was able to run all the way to Satyaloka. Who lives there? Bhagwan Brahma. And Rishi Durvasa is saying, save me, Bhagwan Brahma. This Sudarshana Chakra is chasing me and I have no relief. And Bhagwan Brahma just looks down. We're closed. You need to go to a higher authority. This is a municipal court. You need to go to the state court. So then he goes to Bhagwan Shiva. He runs all the way to Kailasha. Imagine running up a mountain on ice. And there, again, looking for relief. And Bhagwan Shiva puts his head down and says, state court can't help you. You have to go to The Hague, the international court. Even the Supreme Court is not going to work. You have to go to the Supreme Court. So he goes to Bhagwan Vishnu. And Bhagwan Narayana says, as I mentioned to you, I am as if tied to my bhaktas, so I can't help you either. You should go and ask Raja Ambarisha for relief. And Rishi Durvasa then runs all the way to Raja Ambarisha and prostrates to him. And Raja Ambarisha is so embarrassed by this. See, if you can measure this objectively, who is more evolved? Raja Ambarisha. If you can measure this objectively. But he's embarrassed that Rishi Durvasa is prostrating to him. And he prays to Bhagwan, if I have not had any ill thoughts towards Rishi Durvasa, you should make this Sudarshana Chakra stop. And that Sudarshana Chakra stopped. He had no negativity, no judgment towards Rishi Durvasa. What's lovely, what's deep, what's Vedantic about just this one detail. Share with me in the chat room, what does Satya mean? I've shared this in lots of forums. Not happy with your answer. There we go. non-compromising. Satya is non-compromising. He essentially is putting out there, if I've compromised, let Rishi Durvasa be hurt. If I've not compromised, let him be protected. Raja Ambarisha is so integral, so much integrity that he can evoke that too. Many saints are described as having the siddhi known as Satya Sankalpa. Whatever they think or say happens. Whatever they think or say happens. And I have lots and lots of experiences in my own life of such great sadhus. What they thought, what they said did happen. And Raja Ambarisha is the same way. So now let's think about this from a more Vedantic perspective. When you're engaged in immoral actions, this is called nishiddha karma. Or selfish actions called kamya karma. They chase you, don't they? If you have hurt someone consciously, when you go to sleep at night, what are you thinking about? Why did you do that? See how it chases you into your sleep? Chases you from sleep. When you're selfish, you're living a very comfortable life, but the people around you, you see a lot of discomfort. You're not hurting them, but you're really focusing on yourself. Then when you sit down to eat, you're still thinking about those people who don't have enough food, right? See how that chases you? So our karma, for every action, there's a reaction. Be evolutionary to grow out of immoral actions and selfish actions and into your special responsibilities and regular responsibilities. I'll be elaborating on this tomorrow morning. Next is, and I'll be impressed if you remember, who is Rishi Durvasa? Share with me in the chat room. Who is he? Who is he an avatar of? Bhagwan Shiva. That's right. Rishi Durvasa. The word Durvasa means dirty clothes. So like right now, I'm Durvasa. This Durvasa is someone who's not identified with their body. The dirtiest clothes you wear is your own body. It's literally filled with dirt. Why do you think he was so infuriated that this great Raja drank a sip of water? If you went to someone's house and someone drank water before you, would you be that angry? This is Bhagwan Shiva living in such a way to glorify Bhagwan Narayana. Understood? Who is promoted in this narration? Bhagwan Narayana. And who does Bhagwan Narayana promote? His Bhakta. Finally, who has to stop the chakra? Bhakta. So how should we live? In a way that Bhagwan is glorified. Not Bhagwan is embarrassed by us. I wish I didn't create you. In a relative way I've shared with all of you, you should live in such a way that your parents are proud of you. Proud that you have the same last name as them. Not that your parents go and change their last name because you're not changing your last name. And a further detail is given where Bhagwan Narayana is sharing with the Rishi Durvasa. He says, my bhaktas love me, period. And he goes on to share there's 4 types of relative enlightenment. Try to remember this. This is quite interesting. From far to close. The farthest is known as Salokya Mukti, where your reward Your enlightenment is that you get to live in the same loka as Bhagwan. Okay, so imagine I'm an amazing person and my reward is I get to live in Vaikuntha. Closer than that, Samipya Mukti. Samipya means it's not that you just live in the same loka, but you're in the inner circle of Bhagwan. You're the secret service and Bhagwan is the president. You're always around. Closer than that is known as Sarupya Mukti. Sarupya, where your body actually transforms to look like Bhagwan's. One of the names of Bhagwan Narayana in Vishnu Sahasranama is Vrikodara. Udara means stomach. Vrika means wolf. You have an abdomen like a wolf. Wolves are known to be able to digest anything. So imagine Bhagwan Narayana must have like a 24-pack. So you're entitled to that type of mukti too. You can look like Bhagwan. And even closer is Sayujya Mukti. Sayujya means you are one with Bhagwan. This is essentially the enlightenment that we hear about in our different classes, our different books. Now, why does a bhakta not claim these rewards? Because who lives in their heart already? Bhagwan. They don't need anything else. And if Bhagwan lives in their heart, where do they live? In Bhagwan's heart. Now that's a very Advaita mindset. I'll share one last thought about how this expresses as Dvaita. If you live in my heart, and you do, then you know everything that I'm thinking, everything that I'm feeling, correct? So when Bhagwan lives in one's heart, then one becomes the ideal sevika or sevaka. One is engaged in Bhagwan's work then, correct? That's how a bhakta is, and Raja Ambarisha is a fine icon of this. Oh.